British Got Talent in outside of Indonesia. First of all, in the academy, we have seen enough about the deep depiction towards the suffering and also the sadness of life from the contestant. And we in the House of Proposition, we believe that it is such a bad thing, and we should not do that as a TV station, ladies and gentlemen. And also in the British Got Talent, we have seen Thea and his mom, who has been deeply exposed about their own suffering in life inside of the TV, ladies and gentlemen. And we also think that it is not something that we shouldn't do in the very first place. So what is actually we mean with deep depiction? First, we mean by deep depiction with overview of suffer. To what extent is overview of suffer, ladies and gentlemen? Into the extent where TV station make a special segment for this one contestant only talking about the sadness of his life, of his or her life, ladies and gentlemen. So next, what is a talent show? Here we define the talent show as first a show consists of talented people showing their talents inside of the TV. And second of all, it is a form of competition. Why do we choose competition in the very first place, ladies and gentlemen? Because the harm will get higher and higher inside of the competition. Because we also need our own objective perspective inside of competition, and therefore that's why we think that it's more suitable in this case, ladies and gentlemen. And also, upon the idea what is the purpose of talent show itself, that first the purpose of talent show itself, or talent contest itself, is that they are looking for the most talented contestant. So in the end of the day, the one that we should consider the most inside of this show is that the one that are more talented. The talent should matter more than any other things in this case, ladies and gentlemen. And also, we say that what is the purpose of TV? That TV is supposed to be something entertaining, ladies and gentlemen, and in this case, the moment we show the suffering, it will be really unpleasant for the viewers, ladies and gentlemen. So the entertainment that the viewers should get won't be there anymore. Because as viewers, we demand for something pleasant for us to see for any other day, ladies and gentlemen, and therefore in the end of the day, it will also backlash the purpose or the idea of TV as an entertainment means, ladies and gentlemen. And also, we also have complaints about how upon the TV actually show the suffer, ladies and gentlemen. Because in the very first place, in order to increase the rating, the TV should make it more reality, right, ladies and gentlemen. So in the end of the day, the notification towards the contestant won't be there, because the TV wants to make such a shock therapy towards the contestant in order for them to make a more real reaction, and therefore in the end of the day, it will be more pleasant or maybe profitable for the TV, ladies and gentlemen. So in this case, actually there is we think that there is because there's no notification, we think that it is kind of violation towards human privacy, ladies and gentlemen, and therefore in the end of the day, we still didn't think that it is bad, ladies and gentlemen. So what kind of debate that we are gonna have today? We are gonna have a debate about whether or not it will bring more harm towards the society, TV, and also the contestant. So our opponent has to prove to us that actually there are some kind of means and benefit that will be that the contestant and the TV station and also the stakeholder society can get, ladies and gentlemen. And we will prove you that there are more harms than good inside of this case. And now showing this sad story, we don't think it is a very exclusive reason for us to even banning the existence of ironic stories in any kind of talent shows, because we think it is still beneficial even for the sake of society or even for the sake of contestants at the very beginning. So our stance today, we will not even still provide the ironic sense or even sad stories in any talent shows in the status quo to reach our goal, which is to create a better standards of entertainment in our status quo. Before proceeding to my argumentations, let me give several rebuttals towards the previous speakers. The first, they try to claim to you how the educator will be so biased in this kind of cases as president. We think like how the positive side of the house is hyperbolizing the conditions of in the status quo, because we don't think there is even exists the educator that being so biased in the status quo because only the central stories of its people. But even if they are worried about how the educator is biased, we think like how the condemnation of the society will always be so bigger to even making the to even condemn the educator because injustice decisions that given by the educators. So at the end, the educator image is also being bad in the status quo, and being so bad in the status quo at the end of the day. And however, this possibility is very small because how this talent show is also choosing the best educator with the best capability and based on professionalism. Because whoever this educator is also being paid by this talent shows to giving the best verbal and giving the best advice towards their contestants. So we think their tendency is to hyperbolizing. And the second is like how they try to claim to you by talent show showing the sad stories is only beneficial to what different shows at the end of the show. But we don't think so, ladies and gentlemen, because there's exists an agreement between this contestant or even this talent show, which is they will even agree to not pay harm because their sad story is going shows to the public. And moreover, if they are talking about inappropriate stories, we don't think they are trying to show something that better than these people are even killing people or so on and so forth. But we think their story is still appropriate at the end of the day. How it is so? Because they are only telling about how their history can be there on that position. We don't think they are trying to show something harassed towards society. They only want to show something good towards the society at the very beginning. So let's move towards my argumentation. The first, like how actually, what is actually talent show, right? So we think like going to the basics, like what is entertainment, ladies and gentlemen? Entertainment is a place for you to show or even to amuse or even to entertain society, but not limited on the point. Because we also believe if entertainment is also have obligations to act a good as a role model of society. Because certain society is also contingent because they are affected by the idea of entertainment at the end of the day. Like for instance, the example like how the fans is also imitated the idol, right? Which is how the entertainment is actually based on affected towards society. So therefore, it's also the same with idea of talent shows. Talent shows is not only showing your talents towards society, but talent shows is also trying to prove or even trying to motivate you, giving a kind of motivations to you. If you need to be a brave or even a confidence individual at the very beginning. How is so? How they can give you any kind of motivation towards society? The first is how actually there's a diversity type of contestant and society in the status quo. Like how? So therefore, like how the first it is not only giving motivation to society but also for its contestants. How is so? Because we also admit that there's a diversity of contestants, which is they are famous for its appearance maybe, or even they are famous of its capability, but there's also an individual that's not very good at the ball, or even there's an individual only judged by the society in appearance. We think like how these sad stories or even tragic stories is being a booster for them. It's also to balancing the support from society for diversity of its contestants
shows, which is the adjudicator itself. Which is the adjudicator is in here is the best adjudicator that chosen by the talent show to give to even pay the part that's very neutral at the very beginning and pay so professional at the end of the day. And second, how actually it is also giving benefit to the other society. Like how it's also encouraging society that they so shy and not even confident with their appearance of the day to want to follow towards the idea of talent show, like accidentally of Indonesian Idol that not only showing people with the good voice but also with the bad voice, right? So basically it's proof to you like how it can encourage the society. And move to my second argumentation, like how it will embrace different standards of the talent show at the end of the day. Like how talent shows is always have to have a right to even giving any kind of additional activity inside of their talent show. We think like by giving a standard just that the talent shows only showing talents, it will be bad. Why? Because we think how talent show also have a different way to attract the society to watch their channel, right? So therefore, like just giving the sad story is also a different kind of ways of this talent show to attract the society at the very beginning. Like how we don't want to limit the competition, we don't want to limit the essence of competitive of this talent show towards others, because like how the Master Chef and even the Indonesian Idol is different. If like Master Chef is only showing the capability, but Indonesian Idol is not only showing capability, but it's also showing you how the process you to get on that level. So therefore, we're opposing. My first speaker have claimed. The first one, what my first speaker have claimed about jury is not about the jury is being biased toward this contestant. What the first speaker mean by bias here, that is when the adjudicator or when the jury did make a decision on what and on who is the winner, and then the society knows that society's final attract toward this lovey-dovey or maybe drama on that talent show, and when this decision is actually not in line on what they believe, it will actually bring chaos, ladies and gentlemen. Because we know, ladies and gentlemen, TV show has a very significant role in the society right now. Because we see, ladies and gentlemen, TV show has a very massive viewers, like from the kids and also from the adult. So we believe, ladies and gentlemen, by the significant role of the TV show, we believe that actually TV show is not appropriate to show deeply about the ironic and sad stories of the contestants. Because we believe, ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of talent show is actually to show you people who has the best talent, not the one who has set the story. So by this case, we believe, ladies and gentlemen, that TV show should not deeply depict this kind of situation. Second of all, what my first speaker means by not appropriate here is not about like a harm or maybe violence on that show, but about their private life. Because we see, ladies and gentlemen, this kind of scenario is actually their imperfection about their life. If TV show depict this imperfection about their life, we see that this is not appropriate. Those TV shows should not actually deeply depict this kind of scenario. So based on those reasons, we still believe that the TV shows actually should do more filter toward their content. Going to my 3 points of rebuttal, the first one is they believe that it will actually motivate the society by their story. But ladies and gentlemen, here, if you want to motivate the society to be like a singer or artist, it is not necessary to you to depict their imperfection on their life. For the example, if you are have a physical disability, and then the TV show is depict the way how you live as a physical disability person, we believe that this kind of situation is very inappropriate. It is actually bring more burden toward the contestant itself. Because of what? Because the society is actually looking or maybe voting for them is just because they are disability, because they are disabled, not because they are have talent. So by this case, we still believe that we should not deeply depict their life. So second of all, they believe the society is not silly enough to make a biased adjudication. We believe, ladies and gentlemen, TV has a very significant role to control society mind. Because what is the nature of people? People will feel very sympathetic when they see something that is ironic. So that's why this gentlemen, by this kind of scenario, we believe will actually bring into more worse education toward the society, because of what society will only focus on that story and drama and not their talent. So in order to make a health competition in that talent show, we believe that this talent show should actually not deeply about their life. Third of all, we believe that that story is actually the way for the show to do attraction to gain more people. We see this kind of attraction is actually will bring our TV show into a worse quality, because we know this gentlemen, the moment when they think that we can get more viewers just because we give it this kind of sad story. So that's why we don't need to improve our we do not need to improve our, for example, quality, for example, talent, for example, mechanism. So we believe, ladies and gentlemen, by this kind of thing, by this kind of attraction, it will actually bring more harm toward the TV station itself and also society. Going to my point of extension, going to my point of substantive argument, here I provide you two stakeholders in this case. The first one is about the contestant itself, and the second one about the society and TV show. Ladies and gentlemen, the goal of the proposition today is that we want to make a healthy competition as the talent show, because we know, ladies and gentlemen, where they can because we believe, ladies and gentlemen, talent show is the place where they can compete equally with their talent and not necessarily about their life. And we see, ladies and gentlemen, by this deeply graphic and ironic story, it will actually disrupt their education, and they will focus on this drama and not for the talent. So in order to make a health competition, we believe that we should not deeply depict this kind of story. So jumping straight to my first stakeholder, which is contestant, we believe, ladies and gentlemen, by this kind of thing, it is not ethical for us to depict deeply their life, because of what? We believe that this situation is actually their imperfection in their life. If the TV aired this kind of situation on massive target, it will actually give them burden. Why? Because the first one, we believe that this is their privacy, and they will feel ashamed if more people know about their true ambition. And the second one, we believe that it will lose their pride as an artist or singer. Why? Because the first one, they want to know, and they want to know in society as their new self, not their old self. So this actually bring them into their own self, where they are, for example, have a physical disability or maybe live in poverty. By this kind of situation, it will actually make the contestant lose their pride, because they will know as poor people or maybe physical disability people who has singer, not because they are a great singer who has talent. And we do not want this kind of better than in society. So that's why we do not want to depict deeply about their life. Second of all, let's talk about the society and also the station. We believe that this kind of motion is actually will actually bring more harm toward the society and TV channel too. Because of what? When this TV channels actually give them more drama, means that the quality of the talent itself is being forgotten. Because of that, the quality of their shows will actually decrease, and that's why society will think that they can provide a good quality show. So that's why it will make them lose their rating, for example. So that's why, because of that, we believe that we should propose a motion. Thank you.
On how we eventually build the betterment and also sustainability of this kind of the artist is by eventually showing the true capability of some certain individuals. But on how it is we are very likely to actually analyze this way on how this kind of study show would eventually still have many kind of their own who actually become the champion. On how they try to play on the first debate of the first towards the clear proposition. On how they try to play it will eventually be a bad thing, because on how it will eventually show that it will actually consist of the talent. But we think like on how the idea of talent is actually still existing in our proposal is central. Why is it so? Because we admit on how the idea of the educator is actually being subjective, then just subjective, and also about the idea of the professionalism, that they will eventually able to differentiate and also give the significant reason and also scientific reason whether this kind of the certain individual that could eventually being a winner or even some certain individual that fighting the idea of this kind of the competitive, but we actually also concerning about the idea of the constructing behavior, or even able to educate society by actually triggering the motivation to create a betterment in terms of behavior, education, and also entertainment, that being the concern of all of the layer of the media. They state to you that it will eventually be unpleasant to actually sharing the people privacy. But my first speaker already clearly states to you on how this kind of contestant is actually already have the idea of the contract with the idea of with this kind of the industry on how these people will never get any offense. What kind of the inconsistency happened in their side on how they actually thinking about the society is actually being feel ashamed that actually they are actually offer exposure towards this kind of the past, but at the same time they actually saying on how the society would eventually supporting because of the emotional bias. Now let's come to my first extension. How heretical stories would eventually able to influence market segmentation. We think like on how the idea of the market segmentation is because of the dynamic and also the fluctuativity of the idea of the media and of balance, ladies and gentlemen. Because of being a conservative society, which is they will actually mainly talking about the idea of the balance. So after you actually already done singing, you actually have to kind of the burden, ladies and gentlemen. But here we want to change the society narrative. We characterize the idea of society right now as being figurative-centric. They actually don't know what kind of the effort, but those kind of society are just being judgmental. Those kind of the artists will eventually, we show the process on how they will eventually able to become the winner, for instance. Those kind of the people would consider more and also able to trigger the motivation on how the idea of the success or being the winner is not being as simple as that, ladies and gentlemen. Which the idea of the innovation will lead towards the market segmentation because the dynamicity of the idea of the media. And now let's come to my second layer of extension on how it will eventually trigger motivation for contestant. On how because the ironical story and capability, but he do well because they actually have more capability like they show, ladies and gentlemen. I already prepared two preemptive that will eventually deliver towards team proposition on how the moment when the actually adjudicator is will eventually being objective, for instance. We say that this kind of the adjudicator is actually already give such kind of the scientific reason. We think like the scientific reason, society will eventually create a public discourse, ladies and gentlemen. We think society is actually already being progressive. Those kind of the public discourse will eventually create because from the academician which people who actually expect in those kind of the entertainment, ladies and gentlemen. Those people will eventually show it to you on how this kind of the people is actually being sustainability in their future. But let's take a look from what their expansion. Their expansion never mentioned upon how these people or these artists would eventually being sustained. But in our proposal, the one when we actually provide the idea of the round is will eventually even for 1 year, for instance, that on how the moment when we actually follow the society demand, those kind of the artists will eventually still able to sustain me, to actually joining and also give a contribution because of the society interest that they will eventually demand, ladies and gentlemen. But they actually demanding the moment when we actually don't show the idea of the deeply depict the ironic, meaning that the society will never eventually know or even do a lot of consideration whether to actually reach the success. And they try to claim to us on how the idea of the competition that would eventually being important. In our proposal, the idea of the competition will eventually better to entertain the society. Why is it so? Because the moment when those kind of the contestant, the other contestant would eventually trigger it, because on how my contestant as if I become disability and actually I could do a singing or even do a piano better than those people, they will eventually trigger and do better to eventually maximize your potential better than before, ladies and gentlemen. Because those kind of the people have consideration and also shy whether I will eventually able to do better than them. Moreover, we think like on how some certain people is actually overshadowed. For instance, like disabled people who actually being shy and also afraid to show their capability. We able to encourage them because there is still a chance for them. We open their eyes and also open an opportunity for them to show what is the reality and also showing on how the contribution or even the society that will eventually agree with you or even will be in your side and stand in your side behind you, ladies and gentlemen. No need to affect. We think like on how more controversial the idea of the media or even entertainment, more controversial, more kind of the market segmentation and ranking that towards this kind of stakeholder. Moreover, this kind of the stakeholder would eventually be a contributing towards the betterment of not just towards the betterment of the audience and also to shaping behavior, which is also being the concern of this kind of issue, ladies and gentlemen. That would eventually create or even shaping this kind of the people towards a better society and development.
Terus ngekek dilepas iya lagi ini lah cukup
So let's analyze this debate based on stakeholders. The first is the TV program, which is talent show itself, ladies and gentlemen. Our opponent wants to put a better standard in our entertainment, but we in the House of Proposition believe that those standards, those better standards coming when we are able to put something in its right place, ladies and gentlemen. They want to motivate the society by creating this ironic and deeply sad story coming from its contestants. But we think that this kind of thing also we can get through what reality shows, such as Kick Andy. We have shown Kick Andy and we get inspired by lots of people on how their story to create their success until now, ladies and gentlemen. And also, who else? About the justice, ladies and gentlemen.
Talk show.
Misunderstanding our point on
Jadi kayak
how
wawancara.
yeah, we agree that the justice is professional, but the matter here in our case is the society don't care about their professionalism, because society is turned to be blind because of the contestant sex story. That's why they think that they deserve to win. They have struggled so much on going to that level, ladies and gentlemen. So it's like an unfair thing for the contestant to be loose, ladies and gentlemen. So even if the judge has given an objective reason, has given scientific reasons in their adjudications, still the society cannot accept this kind of things, and this is what we are afraid. What makes us afraid in the House of Proposition, ladies and gentlemen. Although, ladies and gentlemen, our opponents believe that there is a natural stakeholders inside of the competition, ladies and gentlemen. What happens is these natural stakeholders, which is the judges itself, in the end of the day, their name becoming bad because society, in the very first place, after not accepting the decisions of the judges, they will begin to create such things such as the judges is not professional enough in judge, and also and also society will lose the motivation to keep watching on this TV program because they think that education is not right. That's why if our opponents want to create a better writing towards showing our story in the very space, we'll fit that essentially, because in the end of the society won't see this kind of show who is unjust enough towards the Protestant they love because of their love for the story, ladies and gentlemen. And also, ladies and gentlemen, about balancing, our opponents claim next stakeholders is the contestant itself. Our opponents believe that they want to balance the diversity inside of the contestants and gentlemen. But we believe that instead of balancing the diversity, we even create an unfairness. So let's analyze these things. Often, society loves this contestant who has an ironic story, such as coming from a very poor family. They are motivated on how these people can reach into that place, ladies and gentlemen. What makes it unfair is for they who come from rich family. They also have sacrificed so much thing to get into that place, ladies and gentlemen. But in the end of the day, they do not be accepted by society because society loves they who come from poor family more than they who come from rich family, ladies and gentlemen. So what we want to say in the House of Propositions is here we want to create a healthy contest in our goal, because everyone who must win the contest must deserve it, no matter how hard they get into that place, no matter they coming from a poor family or even rich family. Well, thank you, ma'am. And also, ladies and gentlemen, they believe from the society perspective that by showing this love into the story, the contestant will in the end of the day get the support from society. But we don't believe so, right, ladies and gentlemen, because we believe that support itself doesn't necessarily coming from this talent show. We can have, for example, we can have a charities program. That this charities program, in the end of the day, will go to they who need, and if the contestant is this kind of charity, this kind of support coming from the society, not necessarily coming from this reality show, will given to them, ladies and gentlemen. So before going to the questions in this debate, is there a boy? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, going to my questions. The first one is whether or not showing lovey-dovey in this case fulfilling the parameter of a talent show, ladies and gentlemen. So here, our analysis on how we want to have the contest is, ladies and gentlemen, because every single people who is ambitious enough to be a winner of reality show, they will legalize all things that they need strategy enough for them to be a winner inside of the talent show. But this is what this is really matter. Why I said so? Because in the end of the day, they also can create such a lovey-dovey story which is not realistic, and also, ladies and gentlemen, it is such an unfair thing because they who don't have this kind of lovey-dovey story, but they have struggled enough. The same if they have this lovey-dovey story, who will they get unjust thing from this reality show just because they don't have this kind of story, and their talent is completely covered by society who close their ears and blind who close their eyes and ears from knowing their talent that they really deserve to win in the very first place, ladies and gentlemen. And secondly, between these both proposals, who can give us a better future indications? So we put in the House of propositions on how that not showing this kind of lovey-dovey thing, we can make a betterment in TV industry, ladies and gentlemen. And how, but first we put the thing on the right place. And also secondly is, if we just showing up this kind of lovey-dovey story, the TV programs will be so ambitious to in the future they will keep gaining as many stories as possible instead of making improvement, such as they don't care about how they're together, they don't care about the other thing, for example, the quality of the show and also the comedy. They just need to get high rated things, and these high ratings they can get from this lovey-dovey. So in the end of the day, that this kind of thing will create a wrong incentives towards the TV program to create a barrier for them to make a kind of betterment in the future, ladies and gentlemen. So that is for your considerations. Until the end of the day, I'll proud to you.
Having five diversity of attractions and provide all, and we are also trying to provide all of creations of contestants and all of innovations of talent show that might be in line with idea of what society's demand to you. That even in Indonesian Idol or even in the Dangdut Academy, that they have diversity, how they are trying to attract and finding their own market segmentations towards from society itself. That sacrifice is not to be determination to be a winner in a competition, but how much you are attract the society and entertain those kind of things. If this is not beneficial from contestants, they are easily to reject any kind of those contracts that proposed by competition itself. That even if this is also not beneficial for talent show, that easy for them to stop this kind of set story and etc. towards the societies. In this case, that the idea of set stories are also beneficial to your sustainability of talent show that have very tight competitions, and we cannot generalize all of that because every competition have their own market segmentation and etc. Because the idea of quality of contestant is not even determined by team affirmative side of the house, ladies and gentlemen. So moving on to my points of questions. First, which proposal will eventually improve the idea of entertainment and also competition itself? And secondly, in terms of contestant betterment in the first place. Firstly, they said that this is not the purpose of entertainment, which is perpetuates the idea of entertainment itself. We think that the purpose of entertainment are very diverse in the first place. That is not cannot be generalized by those talent shows. That we are also agree that the idea of entertainment is also focusing on entertaining the societies, but what positive never play this scenario why societies are entertained by those kind of talent shows, because it's not only limited on capacity, but in terms of physical appearance, additional cost by TV shows such as even in set a story and how they are, or even the way they are trying to determine the winner or the contestant, which is to supposed to be like that. That even if like the existence of that some of societies also support any kind of idol because they are in the same city or even because they are in the same races or even those emotional barriers always will happen in status quo. That we cannot neglect those kind of things. So why sad story is the only things that we need to limit in the first place if the reason is only limited on emotional barriers in the proposal. The idea of talent show in circumstances right now already are fulfilling those necessities. That they're having on their own segmentations, that some of them cannot commit to popular voting and some of them are creating sadness and etc. The definition of entertainment is not limited by those kind of things. That if you are urban societies are not very so much objective to this contestant, that how societies are rational enough to find your capacity. That in logic it's impossible to societies only easily choose only because these kind of things. That even if yes, within the adjudications already need having natural mechanism and having control to their decisions. Because the reasons why they are what's actually the proof why they will be professionals. Because firstly, that in terms of any condemnations, they're coming from societies, and secondly, it's career sustainability coming from societies, and those studies show that proven that it's possible for adjudicators to manipulate any decisions or even easily determined because of those set stories itself. But what's bad on them? The talent show should be like this, the capability of contestants should be like this. That every contestant, they are already aware what actually the talent show are determining yourself and what actually the mechanizations that you need to be proposed to be success in these competitions. The competitiveness in our proposal are better because every individuals are capable to catch up with that every entertainment productions are able to compete each other within the entertainment competitive itself. That even your proposal are limited the empowerment and the creations of entertainment that you know that how some of talent show is also hard to sustain in the circumstances right now that they need any innovations and creations to create the society's market segmentation itself in the first place. So that was the benefit. That we also empower to having characterizations and dynamic of talent show that we are able to catch up and develop society's mindset in every competition itself. So that's why it will be accessed in our proposal. Moving on to my second point of crash in terms of contestant betterment itself. Firstly, they said that how this has become the burden and the privacy for societies or even in television show itself. We are already trying to claim to you that in terms of agreement and contract already access and it's optional that we are not evil, but the benefit is that the psychological eventually create better environment because you are also appreciated by society in terms of your sacrifice. That even if it's exclusively benefit, then we are already trying to you like the idea of sacrifice is not become your determination. So that's why these set stories are become your outcomes to show what's actually your sacrifices and you keep balancing competitions in talent show itself. That's okay. That please we also give those role models to societies that even emotional bias is also already happens in every sector. It's not only on this that how societies is not mocking you, but how you are also getting support and appreciation towards those. This also trigger the other societies to breathe and also commit to those entertainment life. That how positive are also denying the status quo. That how societies contestants also aware what there are any consequences that exist in the status quo right now. But even if this is quick unfairness and how sacrifices to create maximum potential in very worst scenario very injustice within the demand of societies are changeable to time by time in the terms of entertainment and the demand that there will be also natural competitions after you go to reality of entertainment that you will feel the competition of what actually societies determine you. But we are already having promising educators that consider and combine that help if educators are not and also already if the educator is not professional in the very worst scenario, within the idea of entertainment need to show and bring like how the idea of contestant also need to know what actually societies want. So they are not need to force to fulfill the capacity and the standard of educator, but how they are need to attract those societies. That within the this set story or even any popular voting is also justification to be accessed. That how it's also impossible for you to win easily because set story itself. That still you have those capacity in the eye of in the eye of society itself, then we think that this still justified in the first place. So that's why we think that in terms of beneficiality, we think that you are getting exclusive benefit, and what's actually positive try to liking to put is that how in the terms of emotional bias and decision of society that this society is become exclusive, unjustifiable in the entertainment. So that's why we like to oppose.